The Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns have been in negotiations for a while about Kevin Durant, and it's looking like a deal may come one of these days for KD. It's looking like the Rockets. It's looking like the Heat, the Spurs. We'll see, but we're going to be talking about a potential Rockets Suns trade on this episode. So please stay tuned. You're not going to miss it.
All right, and welcome back to the episode of the Bradeaux and Will Show. Y'all heard Brad in the introduction. We talking about the potential Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets trade, what that looks like for the team, and everything with that moving forward. But we got a very special guest to talk about a specific subject with us. We got my boy Keith. He's over there. I guess we described you as a Suns fan. Is that the
Yes,
way to
sir.
describe us? You got the Suns flag in the background.
Yeah,
so.
some of the Suns fans don't think that, but yes,
Yeah.
Suns fan, born and raised here, man.
Man, it's good to have you on the show. It's good to have perspectives from other fans,
Yeah.
fan bases on the show. Shout out D-Lee for 3. We've had him on the show, Hawks fan. It's always a fun episode. So had to get you on for this KD talk because, as you mentioned, it's been hectic, and you probably got some hate coming your way from Suns fans just because you're keeping it real. But yeah, we just wanted to get a good in-depth convo on what a potential KD trade looks like between the Suns and the Rockets. So, I mean, I'll kick it to you. Yeah, I'll kick it to you because you're really close with KD, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he's cool. I'll be talking to him, a few of the other players on the Suns. Like, he cool, dude. He all right. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody no, but
Right.
yeah, so yeah, like I said, some Suns fans is real. Everybody's sensitive right now because we're about to lose somebody like him.
Right.
And it hurts. You see a lot of them. Once guys leave, some fans, once you're not on their team no more, they don't care about you, which is cool. I'm not tripping about that. But, so when we're starting to tell the truth and about, his age and how about everybody knows, including y'all, that they're not about to give you a whole bunch for somebody his age and they know we got to trade them. And everybody knows the situation. So I've been just trying to, get the expectations a little lower because all these reports coming out of, the media games of, the Suns, we're going to take the best deal from and just send him where he doesn't want to go. Like, we know it ain't really going to end up like that. So, me just kind of keeping it real on what we can get. I still believe he's going to get to where he wants to go. People just think it's just the Spurs, but I think it still could be all, Miami and, like I said, San Antonio. But from what I've been hearing the last few days, I've been hearing y'all name a lot from 3 different people. So that's why, I was like, let me just go tap in with these guys, tell them what I've been hearing.
Nah, we had to get you on. And the reports have been a bunch of teams are 1 or 2 pieces away.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of people have different frameworks I've seen. We talked about this, Will and I, on Rockets Collective. One potential framework could be, Jaylen Green, pick 10, and maybe the Suns want some extra pieces from there. Or another one was, I've seen people throw around, was Jabari and Dylan. But the Rockets are very strict on this. They've been saying, yeah, we are not giving up Ty, we're not giving up Jabari.
Yeah.
And they're sticking with that. Of course, Amen and Şengün are out of the picture for this. But
for sure.
Will, if we're going with the Jaylen and 10, right? If we're going that route, what is the most one? If the Suns want 1 or 2 pieces, are you okay? I'll throw him an extra bone. What are you doing? Are you staying put at Jaylen and 10 if that's the scenario?
With Jaylen and 10, when it comes to the different trade pieces for the Rockets, I just need to know specifically what is and isn't being offered, right? I can negotiate more from Jaylen and 10, but I would need to know what else is coming back to the Rockets if it's just KD, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to go up a little bit more for just KD, but also a scenario I've seen floated around a lot is the scenario where we do bring in the Brooklyn Nets, right? Because there is the reports that the Suns aren't necessarily the most interested in Jaylen Green. I actually want to ask you about that specifically.
We should.
But there's the reports that the Suns would rather route Jaylen Green to a third team. And if that's the case, like I said, the Brooklyn Nets are a team that have the cap space to take him on. They've been reportedly interested in him. And then we have their swap in 27. So we could do some swap forgiveness. And then you're now bringing back a Cam Johnson in such a deal, along with Kevin Durant. And if that's what I'm getting back, yeah, I'm going to give up a little bit more to bring in a KD and Cam Johnson, in one trade kind of thing. So like for me, it all just depends on what is and is not, being offered and what's being expected of us. And then as Keith pointed out, because of Kevin Durant's status as as a legend, top 10 player in the league, he is up there in age, and he's an expiring free agent after this season. The Suns, I'm not gonna say they have no leverage, but Kevin Durant's definitely in the driver's seat of where he's about to go. I think it's one of the reasons why a trade for him has taken this long, is because teams are not willing to offer the greatest package in the world for a guy who has as much leverage as Kevin Durant does.
Right.
And so like that is directly impacted in what I am going to offer for him. I'm going to like keep that in mind. The fact that I'm going to have to extend this guy, and he is going to have to more or less pick us. So like, yeah, that matters a lot. But I do want to ask Keith though, before we kind of go any further, as a Suns fan, because Jalen Green's name is the guy who's kind of being floated around here a lot, especially like for salary purposes.
Yep.
Do you want Jalen Green on your roster? And if you don't, I guess like the 3-team trade is kind of where you would be headed.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say no, but my reasoning is different from everybody. A lot of people, because a lot of Suns fans saying he's trash. I don't think he's trash. I think Jalen Green's good. Yeah, his playoffs, was a little shake, but he just got there. You gotta let guys, develop and get in those situations. Like mine ain't really about. It's just like I don't believe we're gonna be able to get Brad out of here. So then now you got 3 shooting guards.
Bradley Beal.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get Bradley Beal out of here, I don't believe. I think he's going to be on the roster playing next year. So then now you got 3 starting caliber shooting guards on the roster. And it's just, if we're doing this thing as Suns fans, we're going to keep Book, and he's going to be the one we're going to try to retool around, and it's going to be tough. I don't think it's smart to try to add another shooting guard when the main reason to me, because, a lot of people leave. A lot of people think Book has regressed and all that. My take has always been Book is kind of like starting in the middle of his prime, and when he's immediately got switched to playing point guard pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's always been a shooting guard here. Like he had playmaking responsibilities, but he wasn't basically full-time point guard for 2 years in a row like that. He don't know how to do that, and that's why I thought sometimes it look weird. We'll be like, why is Book not being like the killer he is, a scorer he is, like going out there, because he's worried about trying to be Chris Paul and all that. Yeah. So it's like you bringing in another guy. So I would say no just for that. Not because I don't think he's good, because a lot of Suns fans think he's not good. If Brad wasn't here, I might say yeah. Like, let's give it a chance, especially because even before the KD and Brad stuff, one of the things us Suns fans always complain about is our teams always felt like they lacked a lot of athleticism. That's why Ayton, when he was here, he was always like important, because he was like one of the main guys. Mikal, and Cam Johnson, they were kind of, they're kind of athletic, but they more like stationary, like shooters like that. So like Jaylen, like guys like that would be fun to have, but it's just because I don't think we'd be able to. If Brad wasn't here, I'd change my answer, but it'd be probably better for him, Jaylen too, for his career, to him go somewhere where, like Utah or like Brooklyn, where he can go develop, get them shots up. So that's the only reason I say that, not because I think he's bad.
Go ahead. Well, then I ask
before we pivot. Okay, so you said you don't want Jaylen, and that I think for the reasons you illustrated, that is perfectly valid. And I'm not saying, because every reporter says that Jabari is not being offered, right? That's kind of what it almost sounds like he's the holdup. Like if he was in the trade, it probably would be done by now. As a Suns fan, how do you feel about Jabari? Is that somebody that you would want on your team? And how would you think he would have fit over there?
Yeah, that's the main guy I would ask for, to be honest. Just because, like I said, like not just athleticism, length too on his team, and having like guys that can play like 3-4. Like I'm tired of watching us put 3-4 guards out there, bro. That's killing me. I'm tired of watching that. So it's just like we should be looking at guys like Jabari. I know for a fact the Suns keep asking for him or like Tari, and y'all like nah. So I'm like, yeah, like that Jabari would be like the first guy I would try to get. But it seems like right now, like y'all holding firm on, from everything I've been hearing, like, nah, we not throwing Jabari in there. But that's the main dude I would ask for sure. And obviously 10. Obviously we want 10. We don't have no damn picks.
Right.
So we'd like to get get picks. So, but yeah, Jabari would be the main guy I would ask for. But I get why they wouldn't want to give him up. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, if you're giving up a guy like KD, it makes perfect sense to want a replacement, small forward, power forward, kind of player, and Jabari. Especially the way he just played in the playoffs. It makes sense why the Suns want him. Makes sense why the Rockets want to hold on to him. Again, a ton of potential there. And of course, yes, y'all definitely want that pick 10. I saw on ESPN today, Brian Windhorst was talking about the Suns really want those 2027 picks back along with 2029. And Stone is like, nah, that's not happening, bro. And we're holding off on that one.
Bro.
And that's smart. It's smart. It's
Uh-huh.
in my opinion, that's smart for the Rockets. I don't know what happens with Devin Booker in the future. Right now, of course, the Suns are like, yeah, we're keeping him. Come on now. But if it does keep going downhill, they may be like, yo, give me these picks back, and we'll give you Book. I'm not saying that'll happen, but it's a good,
Smart.
those picks for sure, leverage wise. But I wanted you to talk about Kevin Durant really quick. There's a ton of Rockets fans, and I've tweeted about this, that just say these lazy statements. And it's okay, Rockets fans, if you don't want KD, I understand. He's definitely 36, 37.
Shoot, I don't understand. I'll say it for you. I don't get that
I'm
one.
with you. Look,
I don't get that one.
I'm personally with you. But if y'all think he's not going to be there for long, okay. But you're not going to sit here and call the man washed, doesn't play defense, it's a bad leader, all this stuff. I just see is really nonsense, and I want to have a Suns fan talk about it. What was your fan experience watching KD this year? Did you think he was lazy? Obviously he was uber efficient, but what was your take on him? And they think he's the reason the Suns were bad. Like they're using that as a reason. Like we don't need KD. He's a loser. It's not. No. I need you to talk on this.
Yeah. Like I would say, if there's anybody questioning, like, bro, since he been here, he was the best player on the team, and that's what Book. Like I said, I gave my reason on why I felt Book played the way he played, but a lot of people felt like he didn't play to his standard. I feel like he had to play out of position, but KD is the best player since he got here. The one like moments I guess you could say KD was the best was that 2023, where you can kind of make argument. The way Book was playing in 23 when we went and we got them 2 games on the Nuggets.
They go like, y'all was hooping them 2 games.
Y'all would have told me if you would have told me now that would happen after watching that. I swear we was chip down. I didn't think it was gonna be that year, but I was like, okay, we're gonna add to this.
Right.
Like, we almost got the Nuggets. They went and won the chip. Like, look how Book was playing once he got a superstar like that, like next to him, like he was going crazy. But KD, like you said, bro, he does everything. Bro. He go even at his age. Like people saying he's lazy. Like, bro, there's times where you could tell he got a little tired because he's older, bro. Like I mean, making jokes to him all the time. Like he's old, bro. Like he's gonna get tired. He's like, you can just look at how bad we was when he didn't play. Like I ain't saying we was amazing when he played too, because the roster was just bad. I kept telling people our roster is not good. So KD still at his age was so good. Like when he didn't play, we looked like a bottom tier team, and then when he did play, we looked like a team that can go beat anybody like every night. As I tell you, like what his impact was. Like when he went out, Book and Brad couldn't even hold it down, and that ain't me slandering them. Y'all know my relationship is with Book and all that, but that's just what happened. Like
hold on, let me pause you real quick. I had to look it up. They were 3-17 without KD this year.
Yes, I was just about to say, like, bro, we won 3 games without him, bro. So like them people saying, like, bro, without him, like, even you could just look at the numbers when him and Book played together. That was damn near enough for them to be like a good team that you win every night. But that just tells you how bad the Suns just did at y'all couldn't get like a competent roster all around it. Like that changes everything. Like them two is so good that we was like still a good team and those 2 played.
Yeah.
And when you took KD out of there, like it just got bad. Like he does everything. He still defends. I understand the people that say he can't, like the ball pressure, sure, like bothers him a little bit now because he's a little older. But like I said, and then when that happens, though, it's really like he's getting blitzed.
Right.
Especially those times where Book was out. And then the times it was the same thing for Book when KD was out. The teams are just blitzing him and KD over and over, and they're doing the same thing to KD. And like say, he's a little older, and these young, shorter guards like Dort beating him up, and and get away with like, bro, that's what's gonna happen. So people, you can kind of criticize his turnovers. KD got on his turnovers sometimes this year when he's older, but like I said, a lot of that came from the roster was bad. So if one of the stars was out, it's easy to load up on him. I don't think if he goes to Houston with all the younger guys you guys have, he's not gonna be able they're gonna double wherever KD at. He's gonna get doubled. Like that's a fact, but they're not gonna be able to just blitz him the way they was blitzing him when he was here and guys was out. So he's still he go over there, bro. Y'all immediately to me will be contenders in my eyes. Agreed. Because a lot of people will say scoring is something y'all needed, in these last playoffs. So yeah, y'all, you Rockets fans, bro. I promise y'all will want. Promise y'all will want somebody like him. And watching him too is it's special. It's special watching him when he hooping.
Yeah, again, I just couldn't fathom. Actually, no, Will, you're about to say something. I'll jump in after.
No, I'll let you finish your thought.
Okay, yeah, I just couldn't fathom people saying, "Oh, KD, like he's gonna take away touches from the young guys," and I'm just
he
shaking
doesn't
my
even
head.
do that, bro.
He's very unselfish at this age. I'll let you.
He don't
talk
even
about
do that.
too. Yeah.
He don't even do that. There's a lot of times you've seen like me, Suns fan, KD stands. Like there's a lot of times where I would even get upset. Like KD is sitting in the corner for like 6 straight possessions. Like why? Why is he sitting over there? And we'll be on drafts where we can't score, and KD over there playing the Mikal Bridges role. I'm like, bro, he's not a spot up. Like, bro, get him the ball. Like him just touching the ball in the mid post or anything, like, it's gonna create rotation, and somebody gonna get open just because they're not gonna let him play 1-on-1 down there. Somebody gonna help, and then we can swing. Somebody gonna get open. There'll be times where, like I said, and KD would just be over there. He not yelling, tripping. He ain't give me the ball. Like he not gonna take. He gonna let the young dudes eat over there. He's gonna fit in like he always does.
Yep. Solid fit.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk to me. What's up?
I was gonna say because a lot of people, I see some of the most common takes that I see who are like, "Nah, don't bring KD over here." And honestly, man, like I think it's stupid. Is the oh, you can't bring KD here because he didn't make the playoffs with Devin Booker.
Right.
And I'm like, one, Book was in and out the lineup with injuries this year, and two, you can't just win in the NBA with superstar talent no more. Like that doesn't work. You got to have a team. You got to have a real like 1 through 8, 1 through 9. And I hope you don't take no disrespect by this. The Suns, they had no 1 through 9. They had.
You can't win with 2 people, bro.
Yeah, bro.
No matter who it is.
I don't care who you are.
I don't care who you have, bro.
Especially if you're not gonna have them there the entire time. Like if I'm saying, it'd be one thing if KD and Book was play 82 games. But if they're gonna both take some time with injuries, I'm saying it's gonna be tough to win games. And so like I think that's a really stupid point to bring up. Is you can't bring him in because he didn't make the playoffs. Like bro, it's a team sport.
And that's a common take we see, Will. It's so frustrating. It's just lazy.
And then
just tells you they ain't watching.
Yeah, they're not watching. One is the he would take away from our young core. We're still gonna keep them in.
Yep.
We're still keeping Şengün. Those I think we can unanimously say at this point in time, those are our 2 best prospects. Tari Eason has been like firmly, and I do mean firmly, like kept out of trades. Like I don't think there's any scenario where Tari Eason gets moved this offseason.
0% chance. In my opinion.
We're hearing publicly, privately, all that good stuff. Like it sounds like that guy is. No funny. If I had to, and this is just my personal guess based upon what I've heard. I would put Tari right below Amin and Şengün in their personal rankings. I think Tari is like that loved in the front office.
I would agree with that from a front office perspective.
I think that Reed Shepherd, because he's a rookie, because they were pretty high on. They were really excited when they got Reed Shepherd last year. I don't think he's going nowhere, right? So you start talking about Cam Whitmore, and I mean I've been kind of avoiding saying it, but I'll say it now. Cam was never going to be on this roster long term, guys. Like that was never going to happen. He was at some point in time, probably this offseason, going to get moved. And this is kind of the type of trade you want to move him in. So kind of losing Cam doesn't really mean much to me. And then if I have to lose one of Jabari or Jaylen, I don't know if y'all want to do this right now, but I did want to make the argument for why I think Jabari should be the one that goes. Not saying I'm attached to Jaylen long term. I'm not, but I think for roster construction purposes, it makes more sense for Jabari to be the one to go
instead of Jaylen.
Instead of Dylan. If I have to lose one of Dylan or Jabari, I'm losing Jabari. But like I said, I can make that point a separate time. I can make that after somebody else because I don't want to talk to Mike too long.
No, you're good.
But yeah, in terms of losing one of Jabari or Jaylen, I mean, Jalen Green is a young player who has potential, but I mean, guys, we are in year 5, right? Like it's not looking too good in terms of the star outcome for him at this point. I mean, it's still possible, but the likelihood of that happening at this point in time is it's definitely going down. And then, like I said, I'll make the full case with Jabari in a second, but I do think that Jabari, I think his impact is a tad overrated, and I think that when you are bringing a guy like Kevin Durant who functionally plays the same position and role as Jabari Smith Jr., I kind of don't see how you're going to if KD's playing 40 minutes in the playoffs, Amin's playing 40 minutes in the playoffs, Şengün's playing 40 minutes in the playoffs, and it's going to be healthy doses of like double big. I don't really know where Jabari plays. And that's assuming like Tari Eason's playing. You know what I'm saying? So like I'll make the full argument I guess in the next segment. But yeah, if like the downside is I lose one of Jaylen or Jabari, who full disclosure, I think they're I think they're kind of towards the bottom of our prospect list. I'm losing that for Kevin Durant. Like to me, it's a no-brainer. Even though he is, 37 years old next season, he averaged 27 a game last year on 64 true shooting, which is insane. And I don't take his game for that. That's going to age poorly, right? This is a guy who came off of an Achilles injury, and you could argue came back better, right? He had one of, if not the best game of his career, that following season in Brooklyn against the Bucks, that Game 7. He was out of his mind that game. And I get he's a bit older now, so I'm not going to say he's the same player. But the point I'm making is his game is not based upon athleticism or something that's going to dissipate as he gets older. 40-year-old Kevin Durant's going to be able to hit a three. 40-year-old Kevin Durant's going to be able to hit a pull-up midi, a fadeaway. Like that's never going away.
It's not. It's not.
Hey,
Will, really quick, 53% on middies this year. I had to throw that out there.
Yeah, like
that's absurd.
That's never going to go away. I don't care how old KD is. He's always going to do it. The health concerns probably will be more valid than his game dissipating. And like I said, this is the part I want to make that argument about Jabari in a second. Is I think the Rockets will be in a position to insulate KD as much as we can to prevent injury from happening to him. So yeah, I'll land my plane there because I don't jump the gun too much on it. But yeah, I think it's kind of I think it's a layup if the price is right, which it sounds like it's going to be.
Right. And I wanted to mention this earlier and say to you, Keith, like, again, the Suns, they did not have a solid roster. I mentioned they were 3-17 without Kevin Durant this year, which says a lot. They were getting blitzed when one or the other were out. And we spoke about it. Devin Booker was trying to play the point guard role. I thought y'all had a hole at point guard, right?
Yeah.
I think Book wasn't playing his natural position. You guys are missing a point. I haven't said this. You guys missing a center. That's a big thing. That's the reason why I think you guys were extremely soft inside.
Don't get me started. Do not get me started, bro.
No, I'll get you. This is the reason we have you on the podcast.
Can I ask him? Can I ask Keith?
Go ahead.
This is another thing, Keith, I want to ask you about because I think people, and I'm talking to the person who's typing the comment up right now. I'm talking to you.
Yep, they're already in here. The comments are already in here. I know.
I think people, they have their ideas, but they don't really watch the game. Please speak to us about Tyus Jones because people keep telling me that we could replace Fred VanVleet with Tyus Jones and we would get better. And I'm like, I don't think y'all watched Tyus Jones last year. So this is somebody who watched all 82 games of Tyus Jones. Please talk to us about Tyus Jones,
brother. People gonna say I'm a hater too because I
started.
Please talk
to us about Tyus Jones, man.
I started the Tyus talk a little earlier than some Suns fans. I'm like, hey, like he cool, but he not what he was advertised. I ain't gonna act like
because he was nice in Memphis.
Yeah, he was cool, but when when he really got here, and you like I said, when you watch your own team, obviously every game.
Yeah,
I'm like, dang, he dribbling that shit out the ball, like, bro, not really. He not creating no advantages. So I'll just be like, dang, he'll dribble, wait until like Booker K try to get open. The other teams is bumping him, all of that,
right?
And they'll get it to him. And I'm like, dang, Booker and KD got like 6 seconds to work with it. Like he's not really he's not one of those where he's driving or creating any advantages like that to get anybody open. And a lot of people were like, it's because he didn't have a lob threat. Then we got Nick Richards. It's kind of still the same thing. He was at least a lob threat. He's a backup too. When you guys talking about the center, we've had backup centers for like 2 years now.
Right.
So that didn't help Tyus, but Tyus is just somebody I will give it to. He's not going to turn it over. He's cool, but it's a reason why he was good in Memphis because he was a backup. He's good in a backup role, but he's not creating advantages. That's why, again, too, when y'all heard me say Book was playing point guard again, they brought Tyus in. The whole hype about Tyus when coming in was, like Book and KD, Brad, they ain't got to play point guard no more, bro. Like that's what we think it. Cause okay, Tyus is gonna do that, but the Suns clearly figured out. You guys go watch towards like middle of the season. The Suns is like, okay, Tyus is not.
It's not it
creating nothing. Yeah. Book has to do it because Book's gonna create an advantage. They're gonna overreact when Book has the ball and he's doing pick and rolls and all of that. They're not. Tyus just wasn't. He's just not. He's not creating any advantages to where again Book had to do it. And Tyus ended up becoming towards the end of the year a spot up guy pretty much. He's spotting up and he was actually doing better at that than I thought. Tyus was shooting the ball well this year. But then again, like you guys bring up like Fred guards at least. They both small, but Fred guards and he's at least trying out there. Tyus, he does not give a damn about defense whatsoever, brother. Like he's just out there, he's running around. He don't care. It's bad. Yeah, you could just walk right past him. It don't matter who you are. You can just walk right past him. So, no, like I would rather have Fred, and I'm tired of having smaller. Those are considered small guards because those dudes is like probably my height. I might be taller than them dudes, bro, but they're
Wait, but
like
you around 6 feet, I'm assuming?
6'2".
Yeah, you
Yeah,
taller than
you
Fred.
might
So
be
I'm
You
taller
like,
taller.
than
bro,
him.
I might be
Fred
taller than
is.
both.
He t-
I was
Because I
like, I
ain't gonna
might be
lie
a
to
little
we
you.
taller
met
than him, bro.
Fred
I
at the
was gonna say
gala.
me and Fred
Good
was kind of
people.
looking eye
Good
to eye.
people. Yeah, good people.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I walked past Tyus a few times, and then I'm like, damn. I was like, I'm a little bigger. I might be a little taller than bro.
You
Like,
might be.
yeah, I was like, bro, I'm
Uh,
tired of having
you
smaller
probably are.
dudes, but no, like, and like I said, that ain't me like slandering Tyus, but
Yeah,
Tyus
for
is a
sure.
backup, y'all. He not.
Yeah, right.
That's why Book had to play point guard again because Tyus is not a starting point guard.
And that's I just wanted somebody who like because people make it seem like I'm just yapping when I say it, but
You're
you
not.
watch all 82 games. I'm
Yeah.
like because I didn't watch all of y'all's games, but when I would watch,
Yeah,
I'm seeing these things because I actually funny enough I like Tyus Jones. I think he was in Washington before he came to
yeah,
y'all,
before
right?
he came
That
there,
sounds
yeah.
And I
right.
was like, okay,
Yeah.
yes, Memphis. Why I'm like, okay, he might be pretty solid. That might be somebody who the Rockets could look to bring in when we needed a point guard. And then we got Fred, and okay, that's cool. And so I'm watching him with y'all, and I'm like, bro, every reason I don't like Fred, Tyus Jones is worse at those
Yes,
same
for sure.
things. Like
For sure.
every complaint you can have about about Fred VanVleet, Tyus Jones does the same thing but worse.
Yeah,
And
it's
so for
worse.
me, it's like if you're talking about moving off of Fred and your solution is Tyus Jones,
It's not
I'm
the
like, bro,
solution. No, it's not the
Yeah,
what are we
solution.
you just
doing, man?
like
Yeah.
you just getting a Fred Van Fleet, but a little worse, bro. Like that.
Yeah,
And
A
well,
like
that
lot.
don't
yeah.
guard,
Yeah.
so you can't even compare him to that. At least Fred I give Fred, like I said, Fred tries to guard. Like you gonna try to get in. Tyus is just go ahead, my guy. Like we
And you
cool,
don't
bro.
get none of the leadership intangibles that Fred got. The
Nah,
That's
chemistry
the
that
main
he
thing
got,
too.
like you get none of
Fred
that. It's just
Fred
a
brings a completely different aspect. He's the coach
Yeah.
on the court. They respect him so much in Houston.
Yeah,
You replace
I
that with
see
a guy
that.
like Tyus. That's
Yeah,
just a
Tyus just out there,
conversation not
bro.
even worth having.
Yeah,
So,
nah,
yeah,
nah.
Will asked a good question. That's not a valid
yeah.
replacement. And it goes into
He's
my
a backup, guys. For
yeah, it
sure.
goes into
Yeah,
my statement.
he'd probably be a pretty solid backup. But
Mhm.
there's a reason why Devin Booker took over point guard responsibilities like that.
Exactly.
And no disrespect
Yeah,
to Devin
that's
Booker,
all you got to tell them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think Book is. I said on plenty of podcasts. I think Book is an underrated playmaker. Like
Yeah.
I think people don't understand how good of a playmaker he
I'm
is.
glad you said that because a lot of
But
people,
he's
when
not
I
a point
say
guard.
that, yeah,
But
when
go
I
ahead.
say that, a lot of people be thinking I'm tripping. Like I'm
They
telling
say, "Oh,
He's
you're biased now."
really good at it.
yeah, they think I'm
Really
tripping when I say like he's not a point guard, bro, but he makes passes. When I'm like, damn, like how did he knows that skip pass, all of that. He knows where guys is gonna be. He knows
Right.
where the defense is gonna try to help on him, and he knows he's gonna be open. Like he's smart. He good as hell at it, but he got to do it like secondary though.
Yeah,
That's all.
I wanna say this. All this being said about the bigs on the team, point guard issues. Again, another reason you can't say, "Oh, Katie did not win in Phoenix. He's not a winner. We don't want him over here." You can't say that. I was gonna say this really quick. You insert a guy like Kevin Durant on this Rockets team. Again, they're already being very stern in the negotiations, so you're not losing the important pieces in Houston. Add a guy like that, and you see a man in Şengün already going to improve naturally. Add a guy like KD out there who Keith said is not selfish. He's cool with chilling in the corner. Even him chilling in the corner is going to help the Rockets a ton. Will and I have spoke about this. There are guys on the roster who are just not respected from three. You can go back to the Rockets Thunder tournament game in Vegas. They were just cool with the Rockets shooting threes. They didn't care who was out there. They're like, all right, bet. Go ahead and take that three. It's cool with me. Yeah, KD, you're not leaving wide open from three in any scenario. As Keith said, he's older, but they'll still double him wherever he is in his career, any point in time. So he's gonna help just off that. And I don't just the efficiency, everything. Like he helps the team so much, and he's gonna work really well with Ime Udoka led team, a really good defense, top 5 defense, top 5 rebounding team. Give them a 25 point per game scorer who's a given to average a 60 true shooting percentage. He's done it 12 straight years, 25 and 60 true shooting percentage, longest streak in NBA history. You add that to the Rockets, top 5 defense again, top 5 rebounding team, they're gonna be solid.
Contenders,
So
bro. Yeah.
that's the take. I just wanted to get up. That's the reason I brought it up like this. Like KD is a solid piece, and now that the conversation lies what Will was discussing, if it gets past, Jaylen and pick 10, what is added to this deal if the Rockets want to get it done? Me personally, I'm still not too desperate to make a deal. I'd love to make it happen. I would disagree with Will in the sense that I would give up Jabari. I do like Jabari a lot. Um, for a lot of reasons, 18 and 3 off the bench when he came back from his injury. Really good shooting in that stretch. Good shooting in the playoffs. The defense is going to continue to get better. The Rockets are much better on the boards when Jabari is out there. And they were just a much better defensive team when Jabari was there as well. So I would try to keep him. Dylan, I would say, is a very tough loss too. So when I say I disagree with Will, I'm not saying, oh, I don't like Dylan. No, I love Dylan Brooks. And I even tweeted, I don't think the Rockets are losing Fred or Dylan this offseason. Fred, of course, will hold true, but I don't know about Dylan at this point. Again, and if any Suns fans are watching, I know I've seen Keith, I've seen y'all fan base thinks Dylan is a scrub. And it's the reason why Will and I have talked about this. I think he may be the most underrated player in the NBA. Just because everyone hates him and they hold this grudge against him because he's
it ain't about basketball with
it's
him.
not about basketball. Yeah, this is real quick. Rockets fans watching this, y'all know 40% from three, over 6 attempts a night. The defense is there. He got a first team all NBA vote. I don't think he's first team all NBA, but he's a good defender. And his impact is undeniable. He's definitely going to help a team like any team he goes to. But I would love to keep him in Houston. But I've been seeing the salary works really well. If the Rockets don't want to go into cap hell, if they go Jaylen and Dylan, that would suck. That would hurt. And I don't necessarily want to do that. But if let's say it gets accepted, I'm not gonna say I'm mad. I'm not gonna be like, damn. Like I'm like, why did they do this? It would be tough though. It's a tough loss, and I wouldn't necessarily go out there and just offer it off the table. I like the Rockets holding stern and not improving their offer because I don't think that, again, the Suns have no leverage. I would personally stay pat and see what happens. But that's just me. I would like to hold on to Jabari Smith Jr. By any means necessary. But yeah, Jaylen picked 10. And again, I'm not saying that's going to get the deal done. You probably got to add more. I'm not delusional. I get it for sure. But I do definitely like the assets that the Rockets are trying to hold on to. But yeah, Keith, man, talk to me, bro. If the Rockets, you said you'd rather have Jabari over Dylan. You did say that, right?
Well, out of those, that's a good question. I ain't gonna lie.
It is.
I'll take either at this point.
Yeah.
I know for a fact the Suns would rather have Jabari. Like, and let's be real. If y'all already had threw Jabari in there in 10 and like other pieces, the deal would be done already.
Right.
So that's why I know. Like, it's clearly the Rockets or the Suns want Jabari. I think they want Jabari over here. I know they want. That's like, it's funny y'all talking about the Tari thing. I was gonna tell y'all, like, I agree with you. I've been hearing that same thing. Like, I was talking about that like yesterday. Like, I was talking to a few guys. Like, yeah, I'm hearing like the Suns asked for Bari first, and they asked for Tari, and then the Rockets is definitely
shut it down.
Like, hell no, like, don't even speak Tari name, bro. And I was like, bro, I heard like they love him, bro. They love Tari, so I'm like, we can like forget about even bringing his name. I think you got a better chance of getting Jabari than him. To be honest, you 100% got a better chance of like making him just be like, all right, bro, y'all can take Jabari. But for me, that's about either. Like, I'll take either.
Yeah.
It seems like one of them. It seems like if the deal does happen, one of them would be gone. Just because, like I said, the money. Like, then too, I believe Jaylen might have to be thrown in there too. I'm not sure how the money works, but somebody going to get thrown in there because how much money KD makes. So some guys obviously will get sacrificed. So I don't think, like how you saying, a lot of Suns fans think Brooks is trash or something. He's not trash.
The case. No, he's not.
And
not
we shouldn't be a team like us that ain't been able to guard for 2 years. We should not be turning our nose up at any type of defenders. We can't guard nobody. That's been the main reason. Like, even though I'm saying the roster being garbage, like Book KD is so good that a lot of the games we still was in it. Like, the offense was still good just off those two alone. Even though the other pieces of offense wasn't that good, just those two alone made our offense like good enough to compete. We just can't never guard nobody. So like when guys like Brooks' name come up, like we shouldn't be. Nah, we don't. And he could shoot. A lot of Suns fans say, "Oh, he can guard, but he can't shoot." He does both. So I don't understand what their problem is with Dylan. That's why I said the Dylan stuff. It ain't got nothing to do with basketball. With Suns fans, if they talking about he like stinks, like bro, he's literally exactly what we've been asking for. Like, we need somebody that can guard like that. But my main thing, I think I was talking to you about this. Like, I like outside of your guys, untouchable guys. I like those guys a lot. It's the reason why they're untouchable. I do like how you said, I like Cam Whitmore a lot. I liked him coming into the draft. For some reason, didn't he fell because of like injury stuff? Wasn't it something like that?
I heard interview talk. I don't know how valid that stuff was.
Yeah, but
what it was is alleged injury, and then he got a very bad endorsement from his coach.
I did.
Okay, now I remember.
Yeah, I did hear.
Because I remember he was supposed to go a little higher than he went. And I was a
Definitely
big
was
fan of
supposed
him.
to be like
coming to the
top
draft.
6.
Yeah, bro. He's supposed like talent wise. So there's a guy over there that's what is Cam 21.
He might
Just
even be
turned 21.
21
He
yet.
might.
No,
Yeah,
wait. He his birthday's in July.
Cam
He might
Whitmore
be
is still
turning. He
20
might be
years old.
turning
Yeah, he's
21 in
20.
July.
He turns
21
he
July.
turns
20,
21
bro,
July 8th. So for
20
about
years
another
old.
3 weeks, he'll be 20
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
See, bro, look, this is my argument for Suns fans right here because, like I said, I'm trying to.
No argument needed. You can have him. I'll let you know right now.
I already know.
That's crazy.
But I'm telling you right now,
That's crazy.
there's gonna be Suns fans that say I'm tripping and say he's not good. But I'm saying it is because, like I said, I'm trying to bring, I'm trying to get the Suns fans down here a little bit because they still
I'll say he has a ton of potential. I always stand on that statement.
Somebody that young, and like I explained to y'all about the athleticism and the size that we lack in Phoenix. Why are we? That's another person like we should be looking at. Like, and then he can come over here where he's clearly not going to get to play and get. There's too many guys over there that just have higher ceilings than him, better than him, obviously, and he's not going to be able to get those minutes for the what is Cam like 6'7"? He's a wing
6'7". Yeah, he's 6'7".
So he can come over here immediately play. I'm gonna say this too. This might make Suns fans mad. You can make an argument he for sure better develop like offensively right now than Ryan Dunn is. And us Suns fans over here love Ryan Dunn because obviously I think Ryan Dunn immediately came to the league and he could guard immediately.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what it really is for him. Him is just like him being able to shoot consistently. And he got a lot better at that, which is like why we got, so excited about Ryan Dunn. But Cam Whitmore, scoring wise, Cam Whitmore can come over here right now and play next to Book and the attention that Book gets. And I think he could average like 16, 17 at the least because of his talent and his athleticism. So that's the main guy I've been looking at because my expectation, I promise you, I'm not even thinking about Jaylen and Jabari. I'm really not. Just because I believe Jaylen, like, they don't want him. The Suns don't want him. I know that for a fact. The Suns don't want Jaylen Green. Whether they think it's because he's not good, I don't know what their reason is. I told y'all what mine is. Yeah. I don't know. The Suns don't want Jaylen Green. So what he might end up getting flipped. Or if he does come here, they're like, he gonna know the Suns don't really want him. They might try to move him deadline. So I don't know. And then Jabari, I think there might still be a chance, maybe, that the Rockets would be like, okay, y'all could just take Jabari, bro. Let's get this over with. But even then, like I said, I'm not thinking about that because I'm in here and y'all, like, every time Matt's been asking about Jabari and Tari, like, the Rockets are like, no, bro, like, bring up somebody else. So I'm like, okay, who will they give up? And I'm like, I've been here. I heard Cam's name a lot. Yes, I heard Brooks. So what I was hearing yesterday was a lot like a package like, and these packages ain't have Jaylen or Jabari in them.
Oh wow,
they ain't have neither one.
Okay.
So I was hearing a lot of Cam, Brooks, Aaron. Aaron's over there. A lot of Suns fans do like Aaron. Aaron used to be over here. We used to be begging Monty Williams to play Aaron Holiday. We thought he was a dog for like him, like Jock. I heard a lot of stuff like that. And then I heard in terms of the picks, I heard y'all obviously cool with 10, but I heard y'all was cool with giving away another one of those picks. I don't know how true it is, but I heard something about.
So that package was. Say it again. So it was Dylan.
Matter of fact, I can look right now.
It might financially work.
It probably it could.
I'll tell you right
now. I guarantee you the only way the Rockets would throw in a second first-round pick is if they're not giving away that young core. Really,
neither one of them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
this package
even then, I've seen Will tweet he does not give up 2027 under any scenario.
I wouldn't either. I would not either.
Right.
I promise you, I wouldn't either. But yeah, basically, I've heard a lot of like I said, 10. I heard 10, maybe 27, like you said. I know that I wouldn't give it up, but I'd take that as Suns fans. And it's funny, I don't think Suns fans will want that either, though. Suns fans are so worried about like the players like Jabari, which I don't think they're gonna get. But like I said, I heard a lot of Brooks, Cam, Holiday, Jock, or whatever. Wherever those guys out of those guys, make the money work. And then 10, and then maybe if it ain't even 27, maybe one of your guys' other like swaps or something. But that's a lot of what I heard yesterday. And I said, I was making a joke to him, bro. I was like, bro, Cam and 10 is enough for me at this point. I just want it over with. I ain't gonna lie to you. Cam and 10, because I already said, like, bro, I want a wing.
Will giving a handshake right there.
Yeah, I'm like, bro. I'm like, bro, I want another wing that can go out there because I think Cam and Ryan can play together. They both athletic. I think that'd be cool. Like, I want bigger wings around Book. And then 10 too is like, you can go. I believe, like, I've been hearing a lot. that the Suns want a center. That's why you guys keep hearing a lot of the damn Rudy
Ware.
Gobert and Khalil Ware and all of that. We want a center, which obviously makes sense because since they made that mistake, people can say what they want about my boy DA because people always call me a DA stan. We went to the final with him, bro. Him and that book pick and roll was a huge reason. Him and the CP3 pick and roll, and the bigs weren't actually able to just go over and help on Chris Paul and book like that because Ayton a dunk on their head if they throw a lob, and then Ayton had one of the best mid ranges in the league that year. People go look, bro, like he could step out right there and they'll drop it off to him. He's in the midi. Like we haven't had a starting caliber center in 2 years. Like we've had Nurk, damn Plumlee, we had Eubanks, bro. Nick
That's
Richards.
tough. Yeah, that's tough.
We had Nick Richards. Nick Richards to me has been the best out of him, and Nick Richards is still a backup too because he just still kind of fouls a little too much to be a starter. So he's like, we've had nothing but backup centers. So that's why I said 10 is enough for me. Like you can go get a top 10 pick and get one of these really good, young bigs and make that your big in the future because obviously you should be thinking about Book, but you need to be thinking beyond Book because if this is cooked in a year or two and Book is 30 years old, which I still in the middle of his prime, he'll still have a lot of good years left. I think the Suns themselves might go to Book and be like, all right, bro, like let's go get you something to play because it's like we didn't try for like 2 years now to try to turn this around. So you got to think about after that too. That's why I said Cam Whitmore. He's 20 years old. So in a few years, he's still only going to be like 23.
Yep.
Like who knows how good he is, especially as much because Cam Whitmore too will come over here and play a lot. I know playing a lot is the best. That's his best like experience and like the way to develop. You got to play. You got to go out there, he'll be able to make mistakes. He ain't gonna get benched like that. It's not like we like gonna be trying to compete for real next year, like be like no damn contender or anything like. So that alone, you need to be thinking about young dudes like Ryan Dunn and getting guys that'll fit with them. I know a lot of Suns fans like Oso. I like Oso a lot too. He's cool. Like, so that's why I said Cam and 10 and then whatever else y'all want to throw in there. I would like Brooks. I hope y'all do like throw Brooks in there because he'll come over here and guard and be a vet. He'll be able to. Maybe he can come over here and like mentor, Ryan Dunn, who's known as a defender, and come over here with Cam Whitmore and get Cam Whitmore to, lock in on defense. I didn't watch Cam Whitmore enough to know if he was kind of guard out there, and I don't know if he played enough to even.
He would get lost off ball for sure. That was one of his main issues, and offensively just taking untimely shots, tunnel vision, really low assist percentages have been what's been killing his chance to play for Houston, I would say.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's like, you get a vet wing that can guard like that, and you get Cam and stuff like that. So like that'd be cool. Suns fans are gonna be mad at me, but I'm trying to tell you, I'm just trying to get this over with, focus on the draft and the future. Like I know we're not rebuilding, like retool. So, but you still got to look at the younger guys like that. They still got dudes with some promise like that they can get. I ain't saying the Suns should just immediately fold right now. If I was the Suns too, I would still keep trying to ask for Jabari, and then if they just not giving it up, and then we're like, okay, bro, just those are the guys that I would take.
Okay, yeah. Last thing I was gonna say was, if it comes down to it, the absolute most I would give up is again if it's Jaylen and 10. Cam, I could see him, of course, being thrown in there. A ton of potential. He'll turn 21 soon. Ime Dunk already wasn't playing him. I don't think Ime would chip about losing Cam. And best of luck to him. I like all these guys on the Rockets. If they throw in Dylan, Will Smirkin, if they throw in Dylan as well, it would suck. Again, I said this in the podcast earlier, but at the absolute most, that is what I would give up. Like, that's a lot for me. And the Suns would be lucky to even get that from Houston. I don't even think Stone would offer that. But if he does and it's accepted, again, I'm not going to be upset. It would take probably something else, an extra piece for me to be an upset with the KD trade. Because I really do think KD brings Houston to contention status. And at the same time, I don't want them to force a trade, and they don't need to be desperate in this scenario. But the offer I just said, at the absolute most, that I'd be cool with because you got Amen Thompson running your point. Again, we all think he's going to be much better. You got Fred running point. I'm sorry. Fred running point. You got Amen Thompson out there with him. There we go. It's the same point with him, and he's going to be better. And then you also you can go with Tari or Jabari at your starting three, along with KD and Opera and Şengün. That's a nasty starting five. Top 5 defense.
So who's playing the three?
It'd be Tari or Jabari in that scenario. It depends on what Houston wants to do. Or you put KD at the 3 and Jabari at the 4. Again, either one of those two would start. And then off the bench, you got
big
Reeves.
Lineup too.
It's a big lineup. And we saw net rating wise, Jabari, Steve-O, and Şengün was a dominant trio. So that's
Yeah.
why I kind of mentioned him first. And you did, as Will's mentioned in the previous podcast, you've won 12 straight with Tyus and starting at the end of the year. But yeah, off the bench, you got Reed Shepard, Steve-O, and again, one of Jabari or Tari. That's a really good team that contends for a championship. I would bet if they're healthy, they're seeing OKC in that Western Conference Finals. So, again, that's the most I would give up. It would suck losing Dylan. And I would wish the best of luck to Jaylen and camp. I like everybody on the Rockets. I got to keep throwing that in there. And we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
Will, is that the most you would give up in the deal? That's, I guess, too
I
close.
told y'all. So, like I said, I'm gonna make the argument for why I'm trading Bari before I'm trading Dylan. Number one, I think that if Bari's in the trade, you probably have to give up a little bit less on the back end because that is a young player. That is a guy who was a top 3 pick in the
You
draft.
think they take out 10 if that's the case?
Maybe not 10, but we talk about having to give up like 27 or something else on top of it. I bet you, people are gonna hate me for it, but I'm gonna say it. Jaylen, Jabari, and 10, I think it's done. And I think I would do that. Or let me rephrase it. If Jaylen, Filler, and 10 does not work, which I would assume that's probably where the offer is right now.
Yeah,
if that does
I'd
not
agree.
work, yeah, I would do Jaylen, Bari, and 10 before I would do Jaylen, Dylan, and 10. And the reason why I said one, I think you would have to give up a little bit less on the back end. So you're probably keeping some more of those draft picks because Jabari is worth it probably a bit more right now than Dylan, especially to a team like the Phoenix Suns who kind of need to go into that retool mindset. That's a young guy who they can kind of grow into the player they want him to be. But the larger reason for me is if you're trading for Kevin Durant, right? Like, I'm not going to say it's championship or bust, but you're trying to win a championship, right? If you weren't trying to win a championship, there's really no point in trading for KD. Like, the point is, I want to put myself in the best possible position to win a ring. And with the way the NBA is working right now, all you need is a puncher's chance, right? Like, the Pacers are a win away from winning the whole thing. And I don't think nobody going into this season was like, yeah, the Pacers are going to be a win away from winning the whole thing, right? Like, if you just give yourself a puncher's chance, something shakes your way, right? Somebody gets hurt in the West next year, or a team, ends up missing the playoffs, or something crazy happens, right? Like, it's the NBA, something crazy happens every year. You put yourself in that position where you're like a conference finals team, you could go to the finals.
Yeah.
And, from there, it's like, all right, now you got 7 games, go win them, right? Like, anything can happen. Meaning I need to have the best roster possible. And for me, the whole appeal of adding Kevin Durant to this roster is to decrease his workload to literally everything but scoring. All I need you to do is score. I don't need you to rebound. I don't need you to defend. I don't need you to play your game, do what you can do. But the one thing I'm going to call on you to do, bro, is fourth quarter, when we can't score because we can't score in a half-court set, we're going to give you the ball. We're going to set you up, bring us home. And I think if there's anybody who can do that, it's Kevin Durant, right? I don't need him to rebound. I don't need him to defend. None of that. I want to decrease his workload as much as possible so he can put all the energy into scoring, but also because he is getting up there in age, right? I don't want him to overexert himself. That is how he'll get hurt. That is how he'll start having to miss games and stuff like that to rest and recuperate. So with that, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to treat him like Steven Adams was last year. How Steve-O didn't play.
No back-to-backs. Yeah.
He's not playing no back-to-backs in Houston, bro. We have like a bunch of games in one. Was it 4 games in a week, 5 games in a week, something like that? You're not playing all them games. We're gonna pick the games we think we have the best chance of winning with you in the lineup, and you'll play those. But you're not gonna play Widgets on a Tuesday. Like, no, we're gonna let you rest that game. It's basically to preserve him, right? And then the other thing is, I don't want KD having to guard, not point of attack. I don't want him to do that. I want him to guard the third or fourth guy, right? I don't want him guarding the top 2 guys. And so if we're doing that, if I'm going to bring KD in, I need somebody who I can trust to guard, because I know Amin's going to guard the 1, right? So Amin, if we play, for example, OKC, Amin's going to get SGA. I need somebody to guard Jalen Williams. We play Boston, Amin got Tatum. Who's going to guard Jaylen Brown? I don't want KD guarding the Jaylen Browns and the Jalen Williams of the world.
I want Tari Eason, you would say?
Okay, so that's my thing. Okay. If Tari is going to be on the team,
he will.
Tari has to start. Right, if you're gonna trade Dylan for KD, Tari now has to start because I need somebody to guard those guys. Jabari, love him, he can't do that. That's not his game. He can't guard. He can't guard laterally. He's more of the weaks. Like I say, funny if he plays the same role as KD does defensively, where he's kind of the roamer, the guy who
help side guy.
Yeah, help side. That's kind of what he does. And respectfully, KD's also better at that than Jabari. And so, yeah, I can't have Jabari and KD play at the same time because that means KD now has to play POA or Jabari has to play POA, and I don't want KD doing that, and Jabari can't do it. And so there's that. The other things, like I said, if a Min is playing at a wing spot, which is probably what's going to happen here, he's probably going to play one of the three or the four. KD's also going to be playing one of the three or the four. Those are probably going to be our starting wings next year. Those are are probably our top two, maybe three guys, depending on where you think Şengün kind of peaks out next year. They're going to play 38, 40 minutes in the playoffs, especially if we're going on these deep runs. When that rotation gets shorter, they're going to play pretty much the whole game. So that's 40 minutes at the small forward, 40 minutes at the power forward. Şengün not losing no minutes at the 5. And if Steven Adams is coming off the bench, that's some more minutes right there. You start asking yourself, where does Jabari play? Because he's not going to play 2. He's not going to play the shooting guard. He's not going to play the point guard for us. So where does he play in this hypothetical? Versus Dylan, like I said, if you have Dylan, that's somebody who I can now trust. I can trust the same way I trust him this year. I can trust him to guard Jalen Williams or Jaylen Brown or LeBron if we play the Lakers and Min's guarding Luka. Like I can trust Dylan to do that. Another thing is Dylan is a lot more scalable, right? Dylan, he came into the league as a 2. That's he moved down to the 3, but he came to the league as a 2. He can play the 2. Yeah. Because he can catch and shoot, because he has a little bit of the offensive creation to him. Another thing is, and people aren't going to like me saying it, but I'm going to say it, Dillon Brooks was arguably our most consistent scorer last year. Now, he didn't have the same highs as Jaylen and Şengün did, but in terms of what I could go into game in and game out knowing what I was going to get, I knew I was going to get them 14 points from Dillon Brooks every single night.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to get them catch and shoot threes. Those fadeaways that I hated at the beginning of the year, and by the end of the season, I was like, you know what, I'll take them because they go in. Like that was some of our most
people don't know that Dillon Brooks media is cash.
It's really good.
It's cash.
Unironically, one of our better scorers in a team that struggles to put the ball in the net. He's one of the few guys who can do it. And so now, if I'm losing him, like I said, not only am I losing a point of attack defender, I'm also losing a 40% shooter. I'm losing a guy who was one of the better guys on our team in terms of scoring the basketball. Jabari Smith Jr., I love him. We're going into year 4. We don't have a single year where he shot league average from 3. Not one. And he doesn't have the handle or the in-between game that Dylan has to get into that bag. Maybe he develops it. But like I said, I don't got time to wait for you to develop. I got to win a ring. You know what I'm saying? I got to go compete. And like I say, that's assuming he even really gets minutes. Because like I said, if you're playing a Min and KD and Şengün 40-plus minutes a night, I don't really know where he plays. And that's like I said, that's just in terms of minutes. That's also not including like his role. Because like I said, he plays the same role as KD. I need a point of attack defender. So if you're not really playing this alongside KD and you're not playing over a Min, like where are you playing? And so yeah, like I think Dylan is unironically a little bit too important to lose. If I had to trade Dylan for KD, I'd do it, and I would, you know what I'm saying, I would go find someone to be my secondary defender. But I think we have a really good one on the roster right now. And he's making not that much money. His contract is going down. He's a huge reason for our culture and our identity, the culture that we're hoping KD would come in and uplift. A huge reason for that is Dillon Brooks. I would much rather keep him than lose Jabari. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'd rather lose Jabari and keep Dylan if those are my options. For those reasons, I think that's all I want to say about that. But yeah, I don't know. But I actually want to hear like what you'd have to respond with that with, since I think you're more pro Jabari.
Yeah, I am more pro Jabari. Again, I just like his potential. Will is right. He has not shot league average on a full season sample. I still think Jabari is going to become a really good shooter in this league. Again, we've seen it. I like that. For one, a lot of players on the Rockets did not come completely with it in the playoffs. Jabari, he improved upon on his game. Again, that alone, I think he's going to be much better. Again, the Rockets, as Ali Khan has said on the Rockets Collective podcast, he's a huge reason why the Rockets were an elite defensive team as well. Again, good as a whole, but Jabari is what he's able to do as a whole. Again, he makes the team much better rebounding. He improves everybody on the defensive side of the floor. Offensively, though, again, the 3-ball I think will come. What Will is saying, I'll respond to what Will is saying exactly. You know, you're missing a POA guy when you lose Dillon Brooks. Of course, I agree with that. Dillon Brooks is very solid at what he does. Jabari, laterally, he has struggled guarding some players, especially.
And he at this point in time, he probably never will be.
So he's
gonna be more of like I think he's gonna end up how KD is. right? That's what his role is going to be.
Yeah, I don't hate not Katie. I don't hate Jabari when he's guarding a forward or anything like that. When he gets switched onto
Would you
a
trust him
guard,
to guard Jalen Williams?
Jalen Williams I mean,
Would you trust him to guard Jaylen Brown, or would you trust him
Jalen
to
Brown,
guard?
I wouldn't mind Jalen Brown. I wouldn't mind Jalen Brown.
Jaylen Brown is frying him, dude.
I don't
Jabari? Jaylen
not like
Brown
on a
is
full
frying
game
Jabari.
sample. I'm cool with that. But like
Yeah,
if he
bro.
switched onto a guard, then it's food. That's what I've seen from Jabari. I like him as a defender.
Man. I'll say if we play the Lakers, would you trust Jabari to guard LeBron for a full game?
Again, we have Tyus on this Rockets roster as well. You don't have to necessarily start Jabari Smith Jr. And that's cool with me.
Once again, now, okay, but then that goes to my next point is, so where does Jabari play? If he's
Jabari
not,
Smith, he can play the same way he played last year.
You said what?
Last season, he came off the bench. The Rockets were extremely good.
Yeah, but we didn't have a guy in Kevin Durant playing 40 minutes.
Right, you still have minutes. If you make the trade for, it would be, we said Cam, Dylan, and Jaylen, correct?
Yes.
Now the lineup is you missing in that scenario 2 rotational guys. You're bringing in 1. That alone frees up minutes. You're losing 2 wings. Jabari's still gonna be able to definitely get his minutes in.
I'll say you need a guard now. That's another thing too. If you're losing Jaylen and Dylan, you need to go get a guard. That becomes the bigger issue. Especially if Tari's going to be your POA guy, you need a guard. And if you're bringing in a guard that's Fred, that guard, Amin, Katie, Şengün, you got Reed, Tari, Steven Adams. That's a playoff 8 right there.
Yeah. I think,
and like I said, mind you, the position, the role and positions that Jabari lines up at, he can't play small ball 5 because Steven Adams and Şengün are playing the 5.
I would say Udoka was still playing in spurts, not consistently, not consistently. Not consistently.
I'm talking about in a playoff setting.
Anywhere, I think
is he going to play? Is Steven Adams going to play? Assuming everybody's healthy, of course.
Yeah, right.
Is he going to play 5 over Steven Adams?
I mean, again, it's all matchup dependent. It's just not going to be overdoing
that. Do you not want Steven Adams on the court?
I mean, of course, but
he was one of our best players this year.
He was, but the Rockets will still situationally go with a small ball when they feel like it's fit to go for small ball. You know what I'm saying? It's not just going to be consistent, I would say.
Again, so what, you think him situationally then?
No. It's for you're talking about small fall 5, right? That is situational. But I think you can use him in general.
Like I said, bro, he can't play at the wings. A minute, Katie ain't losing no minutes. And if Tari's POA, once again, if Tari is the second POA guy, that's Tari as your POA. Because mind you, he can't play next to KD. Him and KD can't.
Keith, let me say this: you think KD, right? He needs to be playing the 4 defensively. You would say
KD needs to, because of his age and because of like his role. He needs to. I do not want KD guarding Jalen Williams and LeBron.
Yeah, he shouldn't have to.
I need him to guard. He probably won't guard Lou Dort because I feel like that's where we're gonna put.
I think 4 is better from the guard. He can still guard 3s, but he might guard like doing it all the damn time. No, that's all.
He gonna when we play OKC, he gonna guard Shet.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, like
I'm saying,
he can still guard those other guys. He can. It's just you don't want him doing that.
He can do it. You just don't.
Yeah, he's just older.
Because he's older, and like I said, you want him to have all that energy for bringing home 30 points per game. That's what you want.
Oh, for sure. Especially because over here he had to do that.
Yeah, he had to do both.
That was another issue with the roster because KD had to guard guys like that.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, where does Jabari play then? Because if you have him if you have both, unless you believe Amin is ready for full-time point guard reps, maybe
not yet.
But I don't think he is either. Yeah. So that still means Fred's out there. You know, I love Jabari. I don't know where he plays. How does he get minutes?
Yeah, again, I personally, defensively, I still don't have an issue with Barry unless he switches on to a guard. In this scenario, he has switched on. I guess the most important matchup in this scenario is OKC, right?
I mean, it's just why you any good team. That's the limits is when we face up against this. Oh, I mean, the Celtics are going to be hurt, but like a healthy Celtics team, the Lakers.
I'm not worried about the Lakers.
Right, the teams that are the Nuggets, right? Teams that have multiple guys who can kill you on the perimeter. How do you combat that?
I got a question.
If you're already go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask, when he gets there, how many minutes do y'all think KD's playing over there at the 3? Because I see a lot of Suns fans wanted him at the 3 here. You see a lot of KD stands. That's what I'm saying. A lot of KD stands and Suns fans when he was here, they was like, KD should be playing the 3 like he's 3. I'm like, if you really look at it, bro, like a lot of his like even wings like him, like they're playing the 4. Like
Yeah, he's a 4.
Tatum technically is playing the 4. Kawhi, Bron, all of them technically playing the 4. Like, so I don't. Yeah, so I was gonna ask like how many minutes do y'all think he's getting at the 3? If he's,
I would say this
3 minutes, but go ahead, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From a defensive standpoint, I'm not worried. For me personally, again, the Rockets are very creative defensively. They're not just going man up. They go zone on you and lock you up. I wouldn't surprise me if you throw Barry out there and just run his zone. Again, they could do those. They could switch it up. Will, you're making some solid points. You want a POA, especially if you're going against OKC. Jalen Williams, he's shown he can go out there and drop 40 in a meaningful game. SGA, we don't have to describe. Amin needs to be right there. So yeah, again, it wouldn't upset me if the Rockets are out there and they're starting Barry, or Barry's out there and he's got to situationally guard some guys at times. I don't think he'd be stuck to a guy like that, like Jalen Williams. I can't see a scenario where Jalen's just frying Jabari for a full game.
Jalen wasn't doing in the finals.
He just can't be on him that long. That's all.
Yeah,
he's on him for long.
But that's what I'm saying though. So if he can't, but Jalen Williams is gonna play the whole game. And if I'm already going into a series saying I don't want KD guarding him and I don't want Jabari guarding him that long, Jabari has to go to the bench so Tari can guard him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now, like I said, now we're talking about him playing. Once again, now Jabari's playing 10 minutes a night, probably. Somewhere in that ballpark. Like I said, think about the extra I'm asking you to do, bro. KD's playing 40. Şengün playing, they're somewhere in that, they're playing 35 plus, right? It's the playoffs. Your best players are going to play the whole game pretty much. Right. Şengün, Amin, and KD, those are your 3 best guys. They're going to play 35, 40 minutes a night every game in the playoffs. Especially the deeper you get, the more they're going to play.
You said Amin and who?
Amin, KD, and Şengün.
Yeah,
those will be our 3 best players, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So and those are all front court spots. The only spots Jabari Smith Jr. can play. There's also Steven Adams.
I wouldn't.
Jabari can't play the 2?
No, not Jabari. Not Jabari. Amin Thompson. He's still gonna be playing guard at times. He's not gonna be full time.
Yeah, but
he can be playing 1 and 2 next to Fred.
Unless you're asking, Alexa,
those could be your 1-2. That can be your 1-2.
It depends on. Okay, so but as I said, if you're losing Jaylen and Dylan, you gotta bring in a guard. Because if that's the case, mind you, if you don't bring another guard, Fred is now your only ball handler. Not
Reed Shepard.
What was y'all starting lineup last year?
I love
starting lineup last year. To close the year was Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Amin, Dylan, and Şengün. That's the 5.
Okay.
And we just lost in this topic. We lost 2 of our starters.
Yeah,
2 guys who we would trust to handle the ball. And like I said, I love Reed Shepard. Reed Shepard is a red shirt rookie right now. I think going into
they holding on to him for a reason. He got to play. He
can play. No, I'm not
going to
play. What I'm saying is
him.
I can't go into next season saying this guy who redshirted for me last year is my backup plan to my only backup plan for ball handling.
Amin, again, this is under the scenario. Amin is, of course, going to naturally improve. If we don't get any improvement from Amin,
even still then, bro. Even then, you're talking about 2.5 guys who can dribble a basketball. Then that's not enough. You see what the Pacers are doing? They have
the Pacers are solid. I think the Rockets.
Y'all counting on Amin to be the 2 next year, right? Like start at the 2, or
in an ideal scenario, Fred needs to be.
He starts at 3.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, he's gonna be starting at the 3.
I gotta bring in another guard.
So you guys would have to go get a guard if you lose.
Yeah, I think you gotta bring in a guard, and so like now, Amin can slide up to the 1 and 2 like situationally.
Yeah,
but like I said, in that playoff series where you're playing 8 deep, unless you're telling me you think Reed Shepard is going to be that ready, and which I think is kind of unfair expectations to put on a guy who didn't play his rookie season. I think he can give you some quality like 10 to 15 a game, but in terms of I gotta go out there and throw you into the fire. I don't know that's fair to put that on.
Yeah, I would just say if you're getting Amin Thompson, Amin Thompson, I think he's gonna be an all-star, perennial, this and that. I wouldn't mind. Again, we said this about Fred VanVleet, and one of the last points I'll make is Fred is much better when he's kind of chilling off to the side. I know the Rockets might not just be completely ready for that right now. I don't think the Rockets miss a beat if you're going with Fred and Amin as your 1 and 2 and make Amin your primary ball handler. That is a reason why if you move off of Jalen Green, you're giving those touches to somebody else, and that's going to be Amin Thompson.
You're moving off of not just Jalen, but Dylan as well.
Yes, right. And that's
like our top 3 scoring options.
And that's cool. That's cool. Amin Thompson showed me.
Somebody to supplant that.
Amin Thompson, I would again. He's not a full-time point guard by any means at this point in time, but he's getting a lot more on-ball reps if I'm making that deal. And I don't think the Rockets would skip a beat. Again, he can't fully take over, and that's why you still got Fred next to
It's
him.
not just ball handling. You also need the shooting.
You do miss the shooting. That's why you got Kevin Durant out there.
The two of the guys. I want to say both. I don't know if Dylan beat Fred in attempts, but I know Jaylen led the team in 3-point attempts
for sure. And you
bring
in KD.
Was not that far behind.
You bring in KD.
You're replacing one of them with KD.
Right, and you're bringing in a lot more Reed minutes. So that's the reason you're playing Reed a lot.
You put a lot of expectations on a guy who didn't play last year.
I mean, I think most of the expectations.
I would say most of the
Yeah, the ring again. KD is coming in for that
ready
reason
to play
alone.
20, 25 minutes a night on a championship winning team?
I wouldn't say that. I would say 20. If
so you need
the hope is 20 if you're going to be playing them next year.
So you for sure need a guard then.
So you're saying
MLE, yeah, you get a guy.
So now that we've accepted that we need a guard, that's now another person who's now playing in the rotation before we get because now if we're getting another guard, Amin is more or less going to be at a wing spot next year. I think I think Amin's outcome is point guard for Fred VanVleet or small forward. I don't think he plays too much shooting guard.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're bringing in someone to kind of be a volume shooter and a ball handler, preferably somebody who can also play a little bit of defense. That would be amazing.
You're bringing in someone to start to clarify.
Yeah,
I don't think they would do that.
Unless
I don't think they would do that.
Unless you I think you kind of need to keep Dylan. You need a starter.
And it's again, I've said this time and time again. It's the reason why I thought Rockets were holding on to Fred and Dylan. Dylan is very important to the Rockets. I still like the long-term outcome of Jabari, even though right now Will is saying Jabari is not a POA. And again, he does need to improve laterally. Yes, I agree. And I know Will's also saying we need to win right now. My personal opinion, we do need to win right now. But again, Will, before you interject, I would say this. I do hold stock in Jabari being a elite defender in the future. I do hold stock.
In what position?
He's not going to be locking up ones and twos, but I think he can hold his own. I think he can hold his own on threes. That's just me. I've seen it. He's played Kawhi pretty well. I've seen him play Giannis well, honestly. But I've seen it. I could drop the full tape. This is a playback discussion. We'll jump to that. But so we don't hold my boy Keith here. I hold stock.
Y'all good. I'm listening too.
You good? I hold stock in Jabari Smith Jr. long term, and that's just not a guy I would give up. It's the reason I believe the Rockets are holding firm on keeping Jabari Smith Jr. They obviously have a plan to keep the brother. So I don't think his minutes are getting cut severely as well as mentioning.
Real quick. They're not getting cut. He didn't play that much last year. That was my final point.
But if you're losing two guys that start, I think he gets more minutes in that scenario.
Okay. We're losing two guys, but we just collectively agreed you have to bring in a guard.
A guard, yeah. I get your points, Will. You're bringing in a guard.
So in theory, you're replacing Jaylen with that guard you bring in.
I don't think they do that. Yeah,
no, you just said we're trading Jaylen and Dylan, right?
Yes. So I would slide them in down. I was sliding them in down in this scenario.
In terms of rotation spots, Jaylen's rotation, even if it's not his exact minutes, his rotation spot goes to that guard, right? And KD is taking Dylan's. And we're also assuming that Reed Shepherd's going to get the backup guard minutes, right?
Reed Shepherd, yes.
If Jabari was the fourth, because let's make things one thing clear, he was the fourth string wing last year. He did not play when everybody was healthy at the end of the season. He was playing behind Dylan, Amin, and Tari. If he couldn't get on the court in that scenario, why is he going to get on the court when KD is here? Who's the best player I just talked about? He's going to play a bunch of minutes.
Yeah, he will. Yes, he will.
So I said, where did the minutes materialize? If the little minutes we did have are now going to KD, where do they come from?
I still think he could start in this scenario, and if he doesn't, I still think he plays solid minutes. Tyrese, and again, we're bringing up scenarios with.
So once again, we're talking in circles, but now you're asking KD to be POA.
No. I don't know.
So who's POA then?
You got a man, of course, is POA. Fred's a solid defender.
You need one more guy.
Yeah, I mean POA. We're talking about elite teams. Again, we could. This is a good playback discussion, but it's really team specific in the scenarios you're bringing, and that's cool. In those scenarios, and what
team would you not need the second guy?
I mean, Jabari Smith Jr. can play solid defense. That's again
not point of attack.
Amin Thompson is your POA guy.
No, but you need two of those guys. You need,
and Fred, depending on the team,
Freddie's not a POA defender. He can guard
POA, but he can play solid defense for sure.
The smaller guy, he can guard straight Young.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're talking about when we go up against the teams that have multiple. Like I said, if we play the Pacers, right, they're in the finals right now.
They are.
Who guards Siakam?
Jabari would be sliding on Siakam.
I'll put Amen on him, Mike. Well, Amen would probably have to guard. I don't know.
You got to put him on Halliburton. You got to put him on Halliburton.
Yeah, Amen has to guard Halliburton.
You got to get
too fast.
And that's what I'm like.
That's a good one.
If Jabari can't do the things that we're asking, then again, he doesn't need to be on the team. But again, that's why I hold stock. I think the Rockets.
So now we're getting to my point, which is why Dylan does.
I mean, I think it's a lack of belief. I think you have a lack of belief in Jabari to do those things. I don't think the Rockets feel that way.
Based upon what he's shown us through his 3 years in the league, like I said, I think what Jabari does well is he does the KD role. I think that's what he is. He is a guy, who is the weak side guy, the roamer. That's what his defensive skill set is. He's not a rim protector in the traditional sense, and he's not a POA guy. He's
not a bad rim protector. Not a bad rim protector.
You wouldn't play him at the 5 full time though.
No, but I will say when he's playing next to Şengün, they have Şengün.
Yeah, but I'm saying like he's not playing the role of your defensive anchor, your 5. He's the weak side guy.
Yes.
And KD's the weak side guy now.
Yes.
So in terms of what this team is missing and needs a point of attack guy. Mm-hmm. And it's also like, so we're also will be missing that. We didn't talk about the defense. There's the offensive side of the question too, which is Dillon Brooks is a 40% shooter who was getting the bag. But like I said, we can end it. We can go to playback, talk about this another time.
We should. It's a good conversation. We can end it. It's a good conversation. Keith, again, one thing we do agree on is Kevin Durant should be a Houston Rocket next year. He's not going to hurt the team by any means. I think at the floor, if they're healthy, that's a Western Conference Finals team. We'll see what details they get to. I hope it doesn't even get to Dylan and Jabari. But again, we'll see. Marquise, though, again, very thankful to have you on the show. Yes, please plug your stuff for the people that are still watching.
Oh, well, my new Twitter, I got suspended.
We'll get the old one.
Swavy Keys, TMCU1.
Okay.
And then my YouTube channel, too, I do my own pod. I talk about the Suns. It's just Swavy Keys. So I'm going to have to try to get y'all on mine one of these days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe afterwards when the trade happens or just beginning of the season. We'll see. Something like that. But I'm trying to get y'all on mine. But it was a good discussion. If I had to pick, obviously, because like you guys know, I'm cool with KD. I want KD to go somewhere where he can go win him a chip. And I think y'all obviously the most ready situation for that. So I hope it does end up being Houston. I was at first saying the Spurs, but now I know the Spurs, they playing, and it's whatever. I know he likes them too, but I don't hope he gets there. A last point too would be what Will was saying. I agree. Like if you guys are willing to throw Jabari in there, you guys in front office, I don't think Suns will be asking for more picks than 10. I think the Suns would be cool with taking 10, Jabari and whatever else. But if they're not throwing Jabari in and they're doing more of what I've been hearing, where they're just trying to give us Cam, maybe Jaylen, Aaron and stuff like that, then the Suns are going to be like, okay, I don't want to give us Jabari, then give us one of them picks. I agree with that. He does. I agree with what he says. Like, if you guys throwing Jabari, you guys won't have to. But I think if you guys don't, Suns are definitely going to be trying to ask for, a little more of that draft capital. But, yeah, that's all I got to say. It's fun. Yeah. Appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah. If the trade does go through, let us know. We'll jump on y'all's pod for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, as Will and I said, we will continue that conversation for sure.
I'll be tapped in for that.
That's a good convo.
I'll be tapped in for that.
As always, we do appreciate y'all for coming on and watching the show. Definitely like, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll be back soon. Thank you.